Warning, this video contains spoilers, so if you haven't seen Halloween Kills yet, make sure to go watch the movie first and then come back to this video. So after seeing Halloween Kills, you guys are probably wondering, was Karen, the daughter of Lorie Strode, actually killed at the end of Halloween Kills, and are trying to figure out what exactly is going on at the end of Halloween Kills. In my personal opinion, I do not believe Karen is actually dead, and I believe this was more so a vision that Lorie was having, and I will give you guys my theory on why I think that, and go throughout the movie and point out things of how I came to that conclusion, and what I actually think is going on at the end of Halloween Kills. One of the major emphasis throughout the movie is Michael Myers looking out of his sister's window, but not actually looking out of the window, but more so looking at his reflection and looking inward at himself. And this is first mentioned at around 5 minutes into the movie, as a young officer, Frank Hawkins, is talking to Officer Pete within the 1978 flashback about Michael Myers. Officer Pete tells Officer Hawkins that when he was a kid, his mother would send him to Michael Myers' house to play because she felt bad for Michael Myers. However, while Officer Pete as a child was at Michael Myers' house, all Michael Myers would do is just stare out of his sister's window, and Officer Pete would wonder, what the hell is Michael Myers looking at? And Officer Hawkins responds by saying he's looking at Haddonfield, a simple town where nothing exciting happens. And apparently that will all change 40 years later when Michael Myers returns to Haddonfield. Now, within this timeline of Halloween, it is not said that Michael Myers is immortal, and it isn't mentioned that he has some kind of curse like the Curse of Thorn in previous movies, but something that is mentioned in the movie by Lorie Strode is the fear that people have for Michael Myers is what is actually his curse and what gives him power. And this is mentioned at about 1 hour and 15 minutes into the movie, where Lorie says every time someone is afraid, the boogeyman wins. During the movie, there is an angry mob of Haddonfield residents chasing who they believe is Michael Myers throughout Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. And at a certain point within this chase, Karen, Lorie's daughter, finds the man that is running from the mob and tells him that she will protect him, but overall fails to do so. And the angry mob, just before getting to the man breaks a window at one of the top floors of the hospital and jumps and falls to his death. Then Sheriff Brackett, after noticing that it wasn't Michael Myers that jumped out of the window, but another person, says that Michael Myers is now turning the people of Haddonfield into monsters. It has always been perceived that Lorie Strode was behind the obsession of Michael Myers, and all Michael ever wanted was to kill Lorie, but within Halloween Kills, they pretty much say that is not the case and that Michael is not solely after Lorie. At about 1 hour and 21 minutes into the movie, Lorie is telling her daughter Karen that Michael Myers is after her, but Officer Hawkins says that that isn't the case. At this point, Officer Hawkins tells the story of when Michael was a 6-year-old boy and he would stand and stare outside of his sister's bedroom, and says maybe Michael wasn't looking out of the window, but maybe he was looking in at himself through the reflection of the window. At this moment, while this conversation is happening, Karen, Lorie's daughter, starts looking at a window in the hospital room that they are in and is looking at her reflection, and it seems to symbolize the conversation that Lorie and Officer Hawkins are having, that at this moment Karen is looking inwardly at herself and possibly going through thoughts of her life that have led up to this moment, and decides to hold Lorie's hand. And at this moment she's probably thinking that all the training that her mom put her through as a kid wasn't to ruin her childhood, but was to prepare her. And I think at this moment she realizes that, and that's why she's looking at her own reflection and thinking of her childhood and how her mother raised her to prepare her for this, and then decides to show compassion by holding Lorie's hand at this moment as a thank you. At 1 hour and 23 minutes into the movie, Lonnie, Cameron, Lonnie's son, and Allison, Lorie's granddaughter, are in Lonnie's car looking at a map trying to figure out where to find Michael. And after pinpointing places that Michael Myers has recently killed people, it appears as though Michael is going home. And something that Officer Hawkins said in the hospital is that Michael Myers has the mind of an animal, and that there is no apparent reason for why Michael kills, but that after he kills he wants to go home, according to this version of Halloween by Lonnie saying that Michael creeps, he kills, and then he goes home. And at the end of the movie, after the mob of Haddonfield residents have beat up Michael Myers and it looks like he is finished, Karen gets closer to Michael. Tommy Doyle says, "We got this, Karen, go and be with your daughter." But at this moment, Karen decides to pick up Michael's knife and stab him in the back, just like moments earlier where Cameron's dad says that Michael goes out and creeps, kills, and goes home. Then when Karen is then looking up at Michael's sister's window, she sees a 6-year-old Michael Myers standing at the window, and I think this is supposed to symbolize the first time Michael killed and how Karen was feeling at that moment, killing someone for the first time. And then I believe she decides to go up to Michael's sister's window. Like it has been emphasized throughout the movie, she is not looking out of the window, but she is looking in at herself. And while this scene is happening, there is dialogue going on between Lorie and Officer Hawkins, explaining that the curse of Michael Myers is brought on by the fear that people have of him, and it's the fear that gives him power. And also at this moment, Lorie's looking out of the hospital room window, or more so like it's been emphasized throughout the movie, looking at her own reflection and having this thought of what is possibly happening to her daughter at this exact moment. And Michael then appears behind Karen and starts stabbing her. So in my thoughts, I don't think Karen is dead or is actually being killed at this moment. I think that it's the fear that Lorie is having and envisioning what might be happening to her daughter. So I do believe Karen will be in Halloween Ends. But that's my thoughts and my theory on the ending of Halloween Kills. I want to know what you guys think, if you guys agree with what I thought in my theory, or if you guys have a different theory of what is going on at the end of Halloween Kills, and what your thoughts on the overall movie was. But thank you guys so much for watching, and if you're new to the channel, I do welcome you. It'd be awesome if you subscribed, but that's going to be it for me, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.